Welcome back to the second of the two sessions on customer relationship management. And we'll start off with what I've already in the previous video described as the thing that people usually or quite often um, sort of connect with CRM. It's the software packages in their various iterations. So, one of the key sort of overarching themes is the topic of Salesforce automation. It's used for basically documenting all field activities of a external sales team. It helps with communications with the head office. It helps with retrieving sales history and other documents when either a external salesperson is visiting a customer or when an internal salesperson is getting a call and they can pull up all this information at their fingertips. Um, the sales activity management system is a variation on this. It's not the same thing. It does offer sales reps sort of a guided sequence of sales activity. So it doesn't automate the whole contact, but it makes sure that, if you will, a kind of script or a kind of playbook is followed that the company sees as the road to the best customer relationship. Sales territory management system is often used for sales managers that oversee a number of each sales representatives. So it's essentially looking after total sales per rep, how many customer contacts, and so on. So it's more of a controlling tool. And lead management allows sales reps to follow sort of prescribed tactics when dealing with prospects. So non-existing customers, but they're looking to close a deal with people or organizations that have an established contact without being a customer yet. So that's the definition of a lead in sales parlance. That's the organization or person that is a prospective customer but is not yet a customer. And then the knowledge management system, so that's a broader system that enables quick decision making, helps customer service, and sort of helps giving the sales staff all the knowledge that they need to help their customers. The product documentation, presences of companies, things like after sales service procedures, warranty information, those sorts of things. So, how then do we um, manage our customer service capabilities? Um, the first thing is when we're talking about customer service, it's pretty, really it's pretty basic. The 7 hours rule, having the right product in the right quantity, in the right condition, at the right place, at the right time, for the right customer, at the right cost. Again, you may have heard this in marketing. And this is often used to develop performance measures for our efforts in customer relationship management. Because these kinds of services do come at a cost or can come at a cost. But what we're striving for is to achieve perfect order when all those 7 R's are satisfied. And the elements that we're looking for there, or the elements that help us get there, are essentially sorted along the sales transaction or the customer interaction. So the first is the pre-transaction elements. We have things like policies, customer service policies in place. We have things like our company's mission statement, the organization's service structure, how flexible our system is. So that's our basic setup that precedes the sale. It exists whether it's there or not, but it influences how that sale will go. Then we have the transaction elements. That's the core. They occur during the sale and include things like order lead time, the order processing capabilities, and the accuracy of our distribution system. So the transaction elements, finally, we're looking at things that are really, really core to supply chain capabilities. And then we have the probably predictable by now, the post-transaction elements. After the sale is completed, they include things like warranty repair capabilities. How do we resolve complaints? How do we handle product returns? And, how do we help our customer operate the product that they've purchased from us? And what we're trying to do, of course, is we're trying to get to customer satisfaction. And measuring that is a key part of customer relationship management. We want to hear from our customers. And this, at the same time, um, is one of the key elements and sounds intuitive and means that, of course, we want to know this, but we also know that this can get exceedingly annoying. When you're after every last simple transaction with a supplier, get a link to please tell us about your experience with us. Um, so there are lots of efforts that are made to ensure that the communication approach is done individually and doesn't come off as just being a nuisance. Um, and it's often we often try to get various approaches and offer up various avenues for customers to share their feedback with us because any one of them might not be what they're comfortable with. But it is really, really important for us to figure out whether we're doing a good job in the eyes of our customers. So then, if we look at our customer relationship management program as a whole, how do we do this well? Again, this is not just about implementing a software package, but we need to create a plan that is crucial both as an aid to purchasing and implementing those apps. And the plan should also include the objectives that we're trying to achieve with this, that it should fit with our corporate strategy, and so on. So this is at its core, um, one of the things that we say, okay, we will have an aspect of software in this, but that must fit with our overall idea of what good customer relationships look like. Involving the users from the outset, the second step is something that helps us gain acceptance of our new initiative. And, for that, we need to have employees' involvement and support. And that means that we should pick our project team from members from all affected organizational areas. And they should be heavily involved in evaluating and selecting the uh, applications that we're looking at, and then actually also integrating and implementing that. The system performance when we're um, implementing this, that will closely monitoring the system performance, that will help us keep users convinced of the value of the initiative and keep everyone committed to its success. So that's why we involve the users from the outset right through the completion. So finding the right application and the provider, of course, that's one of the key parts because um, we want to know what's out there and whether any of of the solutions that are offered are going to fit our needs out of the box, if you will, or if we need to make any kind of customization. And we want to know how this talks to the rest of our systems. We've talked about this in the ERP uh, context. How does CRM fit into our other company systems? And then when we're looking at integrating, so once we've selected who's going to be the successful supplier, CRM is in most firms a collection of sort of various applications implemented over time, sort of not just one single product. Um, and just like what we've talked about when we talked about implementing ERP, it makes a lot of sense to help to make sure that we ensure that what we're working on works with our existing systems. Um, that our customer contact mechanisms are coordinated so that what we're collecting from our customers actually is available to all our internal stakeholders when they're using the system. And when we do collect all of this, one of the big things is that we'll collect a lot of data, which will help us um, run big data analytics, help us analyze large volumes of data to make quick decisions. And that is one of the key upsides of a good CRM system. But whether this is a good CRM system, well, we need to figure that out by establishing performance measures. Um, and we want to see if it meets our objectives. And so it it will identify any implementation or usage problems as they occur, and it will allow causes to be found and solutions to be implemented quickly. And so to keep these measures valuable, they should concentrate on areas that are deemed strategically important. So how productive is the program? How easily are new customers added? Do we feel that there are sales generated from this program? And so those metrics should be transparent and easy to measure so that at the user level, tactical metrics should be developed and tracked for everyday use. And then when it's all implemented, we have to make sure that our users understand what's going on. And we should provide and require training for all the initial users and provide ongoing training so that um, uh, what a real world survey has found out doesn't happen in your company's implementation because in a real world survey showed that 43% of respondents stated that their user training needed improvements. So you need to figure out how to train your staff as a key area crucial to CRM program success. And you need to be able to show your users how they personally can benefit from this so that they will actually use this on an ongoing basis. So we want this to be successful, but there's many ways for CRM not to be successful. And that's largely in the seven sins of CRM failure. Um, the first one is what I've mentioned a couple of times already, that primarily we look at CRM as a technology and not really as a tool to keep a focus on our customers. Um, that focus on customer lifetime value is often neglected because of that complication of, well, how long do we predict this relationship to last? And often management support for initiatives like CRM implementation is, let's call it temporary. Top management might start off enthusiastic, but then at some point, just like almost in comparison to regular news cycle, interest wanes and support wanes with that, so reduces with that. And without that ongoing top management support, CRM initiatives are doomed. Um, Again, you see many parallels to what we've talked about in the ERP module. If we try to run our business the way we've always done it, quite often the tools that a CRM system provides are not going to be as helpful as they can possibly be. We do have to bend the way that we do things in a way to make it fit the capabilities of our program. And that's a key challenge. And when we look at all the inputs that a good customer relationship management system requires, it requires to, we need to know what a customer has ordered, what they have received. Did they receive only complete shipments? Were there any warranty issues? All those things come from different corners of our organization. They need to be in the visibility for our staff if the CRM system is supposed to be helpful. But because they come from different corners of our business, it might be quite hard to um, sort of integrate those different data sources. And as a general thing, it is just hard in corporations to affect change. And if we say, all right, we have a new CRM system, it gives you all sorts of access to customer data, it helps you be successful in your job, but it requires you to do things differently. It requires you to work with tools and resources that you haven't worked with before. Those sorts of things, unfortunately, are notoriously tough. So then, as the final item in our CRM discussion, um, the trends in CRM start with the actual focus on the customer experience. So engaging with customers is more important than ever. And so this customer experience is an important brand differentiator. And it's one of the top priorities for 65% of executives, according to a recent Forbes and Salesforce joint research. So two-thirds of of executives said making sure that the customer has a good experience with us is really important. The use of artificial intelligence, well, just like most areas of business, but certainly most areas of businesses where we generate and work with a lot of data, artificial intelligence can be quite helpful. Um, and the adoption rates have skyrocketed recently, and the biggest benefit is the capacity to take over sort of tedious, time-consuming manual tasks and analysis of how a customer is doing in quantitative terms. Artificial intelligence can help and will gain more and more importance because of that. Mobile CRM, of course, customer relationship management software often is geared towards not only sales forces that are reacting to customer contact when the customer calls in to us, but it's quite often geared towards external sales forces that go and visit customers. And that means that if you have this at your fingertips, wherever you are, it's really, really helpful to our team that keeps the contact on in the field with our customers. Use of social media, again, is one of the things on how to keep in touch with customer groups, not so much individual customers, but it does keep groups and segments of customers informed in a very, very efficient and bi-directional way. And often we notice how we get put into more and more self-service situations whenever we contact customers. So when we contact our suppliers. So as customers, the first options that we get usually are, well, you can do this online and you can place this order yourself. You can renew your subscription with us online. You can, uh, register your warranty claim here. You can do all of this by yourself. You don't even have to talk to any one of us. So these self-service options, certainly, I'm sure many of you have had firsthand experience as customers with those options. All right, that wraps up the topic for today. Thank you so much. And I do invite you to download this slide deck from Canvas because it does have the for next week slide because we're going to be in person again next week. So thank you for your attention to these two videos on customer relationship management.